Now come let us to the boundaries of the anterior horn, posterior horn and the inferior horn. Now the anterior one is very simple. This is your corpus callosum, this is your rostrum, this is genu, this is body, this is plenium. So this shape is the shape of the corpus callosum. Within this is your anterior horn, here is a posterior horn, here is a body. So what is the boundary of the anterior horn? This is in front and below floor, that is the rostrum. In front this is a genu and the roof or above this is the body of the corpus callosum. So this is a rostrum on the floor anteriorly by the genu and above or superiorly by the roof by the body of the corpus callosum. That comes in direct relation to the anterior horn of the lateral ventricle, which is continuous with the body of the lateral ventricle. So this is the boundary of the anterior horn. Coming to the boundary of the posterior horn. So posterior horn within the occipital lobe. There we have seen the two sulcus, which is very important. One is calcarine sulcus, one is collateral sulcus. So how these being the boundaries are being formed? This is the roof of the lateral wall of the posterior horn of the lateral ventricle, and this is the medial boundary or the floor. Now what structure lies on the roof? On the roof lies the optic radiation fiber. So this is the optic radiation fiber. Then we will see this is called the tapetum of the corpus callosum. The fibers which are travelling from the one side to the other side of the commissure fibers from one lobe to the other lobe that are through the splenium, that is called the tapetum fibers. So on the roof this is the tapetum. So optic radiation fibers and the tapetum that will be forming the roof of the posterior horn. Now on the floor, what are the structures? So floor, this is the elevation of the floor, and this elevation are respectively created by, first is the fossa major fibers. Fossa major fibers are those fibers which will travel from one occipital lobe to the other occipital lobe. They will form this bulb of the posterior horn. So this is the bulb of the posterior horn. Next is called the calcar abyss. Calcar abyss is created by the calcarine sulcus. It is projected, the sulcus is go to the deeper plane of the posterior horn. This elevation is created, which is called the calcar abyss. And then comes to the sulcus called collateral sulcus, which is invaginated towards the posterior horn, giving a structure. This is called the collateral trigon. So on the roof or the lateral wall is optic radiation and the tapetum fibers. On the floor or the medial wall, 1, 2, 3. That is bulb of the posterior horn created by fossa major, calcar abyss created by the calcarine sulcus, and the collateral trigon created by the collateral sulcus. So this is only having the roof or lateral wall, floor or the medial wall of the posterior horn. Now we will go to the inferior horn. What is the boundary of the inferior horn? That is towards the temporal pole. The temporal lobe, that is in the pole, is when there is a projection called uncus. If you go deep to the uncus, that is called the hippocampus. So there lies the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle, which is a continuation from the posterior horn. So again here it is a roof and it is a floor. So roof, what are the structure present? It is the tapetum of the corpus callosum fibers, because it is how it is being created, is created by the posterior horn that is being towards the temporal lobe that is creating the inferior horn. So it is same tapetum fibers which is on the roof of the posterior horn will be same as the inferior horn, that is the tapetum of the corpus callosum. And medially we will see there is a tail of the caudate nucleus that come in relation to it. There is a place called the stria terminalis, which will from the tail of the caudate nucleus will go to the body called amygdaloid body, and there the fibers start, those fibers are called stria terminalis fibers. So on the roof, this is your tapetum, this is the tail of the caudate nucleus with the amygdaloid nuclear complex and the stria terminalis. Now on the floor, what are the structures? Come in relation to the inferior horn. So from the medial, lateral to medial, from lateral first, this is the collateral sulcus, will be projected to here, this is called the collateral eminence. Then we will come to the part, this is called the fibria. Fibria is the part that is coming from the space like called base hippocampi, that is a dentate nucleus which lies deep to the hippocampal sulcus, and there lies a gyrus called parahippocampal gyrus. So here lies the base hippocampi, which is like the paw of the cat, and that is within it having a nucleus called dentate nucleus. From here starts the fibra. This fiber is called the fibria, which is continuous as the fornix, efferent fiber from the hippocampus called the fornix. So this on the medial wall. So far is the collateral eminence and the fimbrial fiber coming from the dentate nuclei present with the pes hippocampus. Below there is the hippocampal sulcus and parahippocampal gyrus. Now within these there is a choroid plexus which goes for the secretion of the CSF fluid. Most medially it is present. This on the floor there is a choroid plexus, pes hippocampi, depth to which is the dentate nucleus. This is the parahippocampal gyrus. Then we will come to the fimbria. Then we will come to the collateral eminence that is created by the collateral sulcus. So this is the boundary of the inferior horn. Both the posterior horn and the inferior horn having the roof on the lateral wall and the floor of the medial wall. So this is the respective boundaries, and the posterior horn is continuous with the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle with the development of the temporal lobe, with the development coming from the occipital lobe. Within this development of lobe, the posterior one will be towards the temporal lobe, that's called the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle. So this is the boundaries of the lateral ventricle.